Kia ora, hello and welcome everyone to our third webinar to date. Can I just start this recording by apologising profusely for those of you who tried to join our live session earlier today. We experienced some rather unusual technical issues and we're working furiously for almost an hour to try and solve. But we do appreciate your time. We're sorry that it was a little bit of wasted time for you this afternoon. And as Laurie Quigg mentioned, if you would like to email any of us your details, we're very happy to send you out the participation certificate. And I do believe that Laurie also has some merchandise that he is keen to ship out to people to make up for their misspent time this afternoon. As you probably already know, my name is Claire Barber and I'm a teaching and learning specialist with Promethean here in the ANZ region. And just before we get started on the main webinar today, I would like to take a moment to introduce to you a lovely young lady by the name of Chelsea Pitcher. And Chelsea joins us from the UK. And she has taken up a role with the Promethean ANZ team based out of Victoria. We are very excited to have grown our team and to have Chelsea on board. She brings a lot to the company and a lot to our team, and you'll be able to see on my screen there her contact details as well as Laurie's and my own. Please do feel free to contact us if there's anything we can do to help you with your Promethean journey. Okay, today we are going to be delving into the vastness that is Promethean Planet. Hopefully many of you have ventured there before, at least once or twice. But don't worry, if you're completely new to Promethean Planet, this will hopefully be a very useful guide for you today. For those of you who are Planet regulars already, hopefully you may learn a few new tricks or feel encouraged to look into other avenues of the website that you have never perhaps been down before. Okie dokie. Now, it was no accident that I used the adjective vast to describe Promethean Planet website just now. I think it is fair to say that this is a very comprehensive website, and as such, we consequently have a rather full agenda to cover today. Because we're trying to keep to a reasonable time frame, I can't go through absolutely everything on the website, so I'm going to cover most of the main things in the time that we've got. And it is unfortunate that you can't be asking us the questions live today, but if I haven't shown anything or there's a question that arises to you that I haven't covered, please don't hesitate to get in contact with myself or any of the team. Okay, I think as we go through things, you will probably notice a similarity with some of our other software products. Some of our software products. Just like in Active Inspire and ClassFlow, when you scratch the surface of Promethean Planet, you're going to find a whole lot of layers under there. So with that in mind, I wanted to start off our Guide to Promethean Planet webinar with a message in large, friendly letters. Hopefully, my guide today will be as wholly remarkable as another planet-related guide. And hopefully some of you have also read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and so appreciate my wee attempt at humour there. Up in the black banner at the top of my page here, you will find the website's address. So if you haven't been on Promethean Planet yet, that is what you need to type into the URL address bar at the top of your web browser. Alternatively, you could do a Google or a Bing search for it and it will pop up in the results. Or you could go directly to Planet from Active Inspire. So you can do that from your main menu here under Help or your tabs at the top over here under Help. There's a direct link to Promethean Planet. Now I have made the text up here into an actual web link. You can see that when I hover over it, I get a play symbol happen. Now I did that incidentally for those who would like to know by going to my main menu, Insert, Link, to Website, and I pasted or typed in the URL there. I've left it as text. yes, you can then edit that text to make it say something else, and you also have lots of different options for making it into different things on your page. Okay, so without further ado, I will click on that and let's go to Planet. Let's hope the internet is playing ball. It is, great. Okay, here we are on the home page of Promethean Planet. I just want to start with a caveat today. We are looking at Promethean Planet in detail as it stands today. Like any professional organisation with their finger on the pulse, Promethean regularly make changes to their websites, and Planet is no exception to this. We're constantly upgrading and making improvements to the site. You may even have noticed some improvements or changes lately. So just be prepared that the way we do something today may not be the way it will always be done. Okay, let's get started. Looking at this page, it does look pretty busy. There's a lot going on. So I want to direct your attention, first of all, over here to the right-hand side in this blue box. Let me just sign out, sorry. Okay, over here is where you obviously sign in, but also sign up. It is free, okay? It's usually a relatively stress-free, painless, quick procedure. So let us have a go at doing that now. We'll just click the sign up button. Okay, and you need to fill in the following form to register on Promethean Planet. Now, I've got 3 points I want to note here. Number one, there are over 2 million users of Promethean Planet already, so you may have to be a wee bit creative when coming up with your username. Number two, you'll be sent an email to the email address that you enter on this form here, okay? You will probably need to pop into your email account, as I believe you get sent an email to click on a link in to verify the account. So if you are having trouble logging in once you've submitted the form, it might probably be because you need to go and click on that link first in the email that they'll send to you. If you forget your username or password, this is point 3, if you forget your username or password, Promethean Planet will email you a link to this. So I would suggest maybe thinking about using a personal email in there, simply because if you use a school email and then move schools, or in Australia, if you move between the independent, the department and the Catholic systems, then you might not always have access to that email address, and then you would have to sign up all over again. Okay, so once you are signed up, just pop back out, you can sign in, and I will do that again here. There we go, in the top of the blue box area there. All right, and just while that's signing in, if you have a look down at the bottom here, you'll notice some statistics. So down here today, we have 2,335,615 members globally who are joined up to Promethean Planet. The majority of those people would be educators. Okay, there are some Promethean staff, obviously. We don't often get corporate sign-ups, so the majority of those people are educators like yourselves. Here's the number of downloads we've had, pretty hefty. And above that, a very impressive number of resources, almost 100,000 resources. We're up to 97,500. Okay, so that alone, the resources alone, would be reason enough to sign up for Planet. Okay, now something else just to note, you don't need to be signed in to Promethean Planet, logged in. You don't need to be logged in if you just want to have a look around. Okay, you can navigate the site and have a look at things to your heart's content. It's only if you are wanting to download or upload something or comment in the forums that you would need to be logged on. Also, if you have forgotten to log in and you try to do one of those things, then you're actually directed to a login page. And then once you've logged in, it directs you back to exactly where you were on the site, which is quite useful. Something else to note, I find this really useful. You stay logged into Promethean Planet unless you have specifically logged out at the end of the session, meaning that if you simply exit the browser or navigate away to another website, the next time you go to the Planet website, you're still logged in. For me, that's a plus because it's a time saver, but might not be for you. Okay, moving on. Thinking about the vast number of resources, we're going to start delving into Promethean Planet, and we're going to start with the Resources tab. I want to draw your attention up here. Underneath the Promethean Planet banner, we've got numerous tabs, and as you scroll over them, you see they display different things. Okay, I'm not going to attack these tabs left to right. Please forgive me, there is a method to my madness. I'm going to address them as I see it in order of importance or perhaps relevance for teachers who are our majority of users and probably the people watching or listening to this today. So let's start with the Resources tab then. As I hover over it, you'll see that a range of searching options come up. It really doesn't matter which option you go with here, as you can choose to cross-search the other options at the next step. So let's pretend that I'm a Year 4 teacher and I'm about to start planning a unit on fractions. I want to search what resources are already available because why recreate the wheel? So I'm hovering over the Resources tab, and because I'm going to be in a maths planning a maths unit, I'm going to come to subject area far right and click on maths as my first filter. All right, now I'll draw your attention up to the top right. The number of resources on Planet tagged with the keyword maths or mathematics, 12,929. So there's a fair few mathematical resources here. To save me, oh look at that, the first one was fractions. To save me going through looking specifically for fractions in each individual one, I'm going to now filter by more search criteria. Okay, the first thing I'm going to add is the keyword fractions, and I press the green button next to it. Look at that, you can see it's already cut my resources down over here on the right. You can see the number to 604, tagged with the keyword fraction. There may be more, and they just haven't been tagged with a keyword fraction. Okay. I'm also going to search by age range. So I'll come down on the left-hand side to a little grey box, add search criteria, and I'm going to add an age range. So I'm going to choose 8 to 11 years, and I'm going to have a look there. Now I'm down to 424 resources, but because I have multiple children at multiple levels in my classroom, that's not a wide enough age band for me. So I'm going to add one more, and I do that in the current search blue box on the left up here. And next to the title age range, I click Add, and 6 to 8 years as well. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. All right, so I now have 484 resources. I could also come down and search by resource type, file type, or country, should I wish to. I'm not going to do that, mainly because of the time it takes to do. And speaking of which, before I go into showing you how to download resources from Planet, I actually would like to show you my preference. Personally, I never search using the Resource tab the way I've just demonstrated to you. simply because I find it a wee bit fiddly and it annoys me that I have to keep adding the search filter criteria this way. For me, it's too slow. It might be ideal for you. You might like that slow drill down to see the different resources. For me, I want wham bam, put it all in front of me, I'm going to go from there. So I personally use the advanced search, and you can find that up top right, just underneath the tabs bar. There's an area where you can do a keyword search if you want to. I think that this looks pretty bland and insignificant, really, and it should have a shining, flashing neon beacon light around it because it's so much friendlier to use, so much quicker. So when I open this, I should see a beautiful advanced search box like this open. If you don't, if you get a whole list of text down the side here, which is what happened to me just the other day actually at a school when I was using Internet Explorer, that could be an indication that your browser is a very old one and you may wish to upgrade it or perhaps swap to a browser like Chrome that updates itself. Okay, so in the top box up here, I'm going to add the keyword fractions. Now I'm going to come down. It's obviously I've got 4 tabs along here that I'm going to collapse or stretch out and add my criteria. The first one is subject area, and I'm just going to come down. Whereas before I ticked maths and it came up with 12,000 resources, I can drill down straight away to the strand that I want, number. Oops, I'll tick that. Okay. The second tab is where I can come and add my age bands. So I'm just going to click 1, 2, in fact I'll do 3, just like that because it's so quick. On the left-hand side, I could narrow my search by the type of resource. I tend not to really bother doing that because I'm a person that likes to see everything that's out there. So I put very few filters in place for my search so that I'm more likely to get more results. If you would like to, you can search simply for web links or simply for handouts or simply for lesson plans. Lesson plans is where you would search. If you tick that, it would come up mostly with flip charts, but also perhaps with some documents that, for instance, PDFs or Word documents that would be potentially useful for you when planning lessons. Okay, third bar along. If I want to, I could just search flip charts, I could just search Promethean resource packs or just for audio or just for Excel documents. Again, I tend to tick nothing in here because I don't want to narrow my search too much. So I jump straight along to the 4th tab there, country and language. Personally, I always pick Australia, the United Kingdom, and unfortunately we have to scroll down in the list here, New Zealand. Come on, where are you? There you go. I very deliberately don't search for the United States just because I'm really finicky about spelling and grammar and stuff, and if I should download a resource from the States, I just know that I would spend time correcting all of the spelling in it to be our spelling, and I just don't have the time. So I'm going to now click on the bottom right hand of that box, the orange search button, and hopefully, there we go, I have 119 resources at my fingertips, and here are all of my current search filters. Now, of course, I can still add and change these. So if I've come up with 0 in here, and I've got lots and lots of filters, I could just click on the red X's and get rid of some of those filters, and I will see my results probably expand quite a lot. All right. Now, downloading. So with so many resources, 119 here at my fingertips, I've come across a new challenge, which is deciding which resources I'm going to choose. So there are a number of things here on the website that can help you make these decisions. The first thing I'll draw your attention to is this kind of grey bar above the pictures and information of the resources there. There's a drop-down arrow that allows me to sort in different ways. So sometimes I choose to change this. Mostly I leave it on relevance because it's sorting according to what I've set as my parameters. But sometimes I search by the most downloaded in the last 30 days, because especially if I have come onto Planet before and searched for fractions before for my same year group that I might have taught a couple of years in a row, I might only be after some new resources, okay? And if I just, I might search by most recent, not most downloaded, most recent is what I should have said there. But sometimes I do come and search under the most downloaded or the most downloaded in the last 30 days just to see. It is a rule of thumb. It tends to be if resources are being downloaded a lot, general rule of thumb, they'd be quite worthwhile ones for me to download and at least take a look at. All right. Now, the next thing I can do is look at the short descriptions of the resource, which is next to the thumbnail here. This one's been cut off because it's obviously too long. These are more like a bit of a heading, but they should give me, or a subheading, they should give me a little bit of information. And I also can take a look at the little icons down here next to the download button on the right. Okay. The magnifying glass tells me how many times the resource has come up in a search. The arrow shows me how many times it has been downloaded. And the star tells me how many times it has been favorited by people. I tend to look at the number of times it has been downloaded as my main indicator. For instance, if a resource has been downloaded 800 times, chances are it may be a pretty useful resource compared to one that has only been downloaded 50 times. But having said that, I also encourage you to have a look up at the date that the flip chart was submitted. All right, so this one was submitted in 2009, and that could account for the number of times it's been downloaded, but it also might be a little bit out of date. Maybe I know the curriculum's changed, or there's a new fad for how we teach fractions, and this one definitely won't have it because it's several years old. The other thing to think about, if you're going by the number of downloads, so the popularity of the resource, something to also think about is if it has a low number of downloads and it's only just been submitted, that could be why. Yeah. I can also, of course, click the orange preview button. All right, so let's pop into the preview pane. And this is quite a nice little thing if you've got the time to explore it. Generally speaking, you get to see a thumbnail and you can flick through them a bit quicker of each page of the flip chart there in that little box. As you can see, I'm spiraling through. This looks like a pretty good resource actually because it's got a lot of different avenues covered. We've got ordering fractions, equivalent fractions, we've got some voting in there, some polling, we've got fractions of groups, sharing. It's looking pretty good. Okay, it looks pretty useful. I can also read more of a description. If I'm worried about copyright, I can check the acknowledgements there. And of course, on the right here, there's a little bit more information. So when this resource was created, the owner ticked it to sit in this age band. So it might be good for my middle and upper students, but it certainly wouldn't be appropriate for my lower achieving students by the look of it there. It also tells me who created it, or rather who submitted it, and you should be the person who submits it if you created it. And of course, to the right, I can download from here. Also, if I've found that this author has done a really good job, I can go and check out, down here by the orange play button, more flip charts or more resources submitted by this author if they have, because it might be that I like her work. It's a bit like following someone. I'll just pop back out of there, however. Okay. Personally, I don't usually go into the preview pane. You might be getting the feeling from me at the moment about how I like to just rush. Time is money. I don't have the time to go and preview. That's because I learnt the hard way that I could be all day on Promethean Planet and not get enough done. There is so much on here and so many useful things. I have to really restrict myself in my searching, or I will go through and try and find a million good resources. I tend to use the information I talked about, the numbers over here, and sorting by relevance and so forth to help me judge the book by the cover, if you will. And I also tend to have the habit of downloading, say, 10 flip charts in a row, and then I go out of the internet and I go into Inspire and I open them from there and I look at them there. And that is a very important point, because when you choose to download a resource, you will probably be asked if you would like to open or save the file. Now, my computer probably won't ask me that because I should have turned off that function, so I don't think I'll see it pop up. But it usually pops up here or down in a little bar at the bottom of your browser. Always, people, please choose save. It's very tempting to think, I'll just open that and have a quick look. But if you do that, what happens is the file will open a read-only type copy for you in ActiveInspire, so you can still flick through it and it looks the real deal, and you then think, oh yeah, that looks all right, I'll save it and then I'll use it. You've had a look through the notes browser, because a good author will put notes in the notes browser for you so that you know how to use each page, and it says it's got things like video files and web links and so forth. But what happens if you open it straight away is it's giving you that read-only copy, and so none of the goodies have actually come with it at this stage. It's just read-only sort of thing. And if you then save that resource from there, what happens is it saves you the read-only copy. So when you then go and open it, you don't have any of those lovely goodies. You don't have the web links or the movies or the sound files. Nothing works. If you choose the save option right from the get-go, that doesn't happen. So save the resource first, then later go and open it. Everything will be there as it should be. Okay? If you think you're going to forget all of this information on searching and downloading resources, and you're dreading the fact that you're going to have to try and find whereabouts on this recording, by the way, it's at about 28 minutes, to fast forward to in order to hear about that, then don't panic, because on our little Promethean ANZ YouTube page, I have made a short little tutorial video and explained it all in about 6 minutes. Okay. The final thing I will say about the Resources tab is this is also where you come to upload a resource, and you would do that here where it says Share a Resource, just there. Now, the whole reason we have so many resources on here in the first place is because other educators out there have shared their resources out of the goodness of their hearts. They may or they may not be the fanciest looking or the most brilliant resources you've ever come across, but they are at least going to give you a leg up and save you some time. So I heartily encourage you to share back. If you have made resources, and it can be any type of file, remember, a Word document, a PDF, video, whatever, not just flip charts, that you've found really useful, then chances are some other teacher will find it useful too. So do take 5 minutes out of your day now and then to put something back into the community. So as I was saying, you could share the resource off the tab there, or also in Promethean Planet. So I'm just going to open that flip chart so you can see how quick and easy it is. There we go. I've got the fractions flip chart there that I can flip through. It's what we looked up before. Just come back to here. The other place you can submit a flip chart is straight off your toolbar under, File, Submit Flip Charts to Promethean Planet. So you do have to have saved your flip chart first before you do that. And of course, unless the documents are embedded, like the Word documents or so forth, are embedded in your flip chart, you wouldn't be able to upload just them from here. You would have to go on to Planet and load from the Resources tab. All right. So we're going to pop along to the Professional Development tab here. And I think this is of equal importance to teachers as the Resource tab. This is where you can come for help with getting to know your software through a number of different avenues. A point to note here, for the ANZ region, we fall under the International English category, and ideally, up in the very top right of our screen, under Current Site, the drop-down arrow here, we should see International English ticked. Okay, you could probably also get away with UK English, as their terms and headings are pretty much the same across both sites, but you most definitely do not want to pick US English. If you have US English showing up here, then you will not see the same items and the same headings as I will be showing you today. Their curriculum is very different, and their PD resources are also very different. So International English is your best bet. Okay, I don't need to do that anymore. All right, so under the PD tab, I'm going to direct you straight to videos, manuals, and more. I'll leave you to explore curriculum and ITEP yourself. There's a lot of research and theory, educational theory in these areas, and they're really well worth a read, but time is not our friend today, so we're scooching straight along to here. Okay, so I'll scroll down a little bit. I'm going to quickly go through these 4 boxes at the bottom, and I am going to start left to right. Okay, they're very useful links, these boxes. The first one, Academies and Fellows. Clicking on this link will take you out to a map of the world where you can find Promethean accredited trainers, I'll just scroll down a little bit, for your region. Okay, if you're wondering what Academies and Fellows are all about, Academies are big training facilities who offer Promethean specific training. Fellows are individual trainers who do the same thing. Now, as you can see, it does appear that poor old Australia is a wee bit thin on the ground when it comes to Academies and Fellows. We used to have a fairly strong training network once upon a time. However, it's fallen by the wayside a little bit as trainers have moved off in other directions, as people do in life. The ones we do still have left are die-hard professionals, however, and I really encourage you to contact them if you're looking to organise some professional learning specifically tailored to your school's needs. It also does look as though poor old New Zealand down here has no trainers whatsoever, and I can guarantee you that this is most definitely not the case. In New Zealand, it's lovely and easy. For all of your training needs, you would just contact ActiveBoard NZ. They are the distributor and reseller and trainers for Promethean products in New Zealand, and they have heaps of really good trainers. So we're going to pop back to our PD landing page and go across to the next box. Promethean webinars. Clearly, if you were with us live today, then you'd already found that your way there at some stage before, either that or you've clicked on a link taking you to the next step, which was in the bottom box down here, enrolling on a webinar. Okay, clicking on that box takes you to see where you can learn more about the upcoming webinars and register for them. Okay, and something to note, the UK and Ireland Promethean team also run webinars. okay? I encourage you to register for theirs as well. They are full of fantastic ideas and examples, and don't worry if you can't make the webinar live. You know, it might be 3 a.m. in the morning for you. Just like our ANZ webinars, they're recorded, and if you've registered, you'll be sent the link to watch them afterwards, okay? Also, the next box over, webinar resources, if we click on that, it takes you out to where you can download the support materials or resources that go along with those webinars. So every time we do a webinar, we put up a flip chart or any other resources that we might have used in that webinar so that you can have access to them. So ordinarily, my webinar would be as chock full of examples as I could make it, and that would be plonked up here for you so that you can download as you need, okay? Today, my flip chart is taking more of a note form because, well, looks like I have to close that one, because I'm out here on the internet for most of it. I'm not in Inspire. The third box along, some of you might have already found this, or if you're planning to join a webinar in the future and you've never done it before, it's just a PDF explaining how to join, because we use Cisco WebEx, which I have to say is normally very reliable. It was a completely weird scenario today that meant I was unable to actually get onto our webinar and therefore present it. But that is a troubleshooting or instruction set for your end. And of course, over here we have in the fourth box, previous webinar. Click below to view recordings of previous webinars. Now this will take you out to the Promethean UKI site, and I think it's just their site. I don't think ours are on here. Somewhere there is a link to the ANZ site, but don't worry if you can't find it on their site, because we send you a link, and once you have the link, you can follow and find out any of our future webinars that we post up there. All right, popping back out to our professional development landing page, I'm coming along to the third box here. All right, so I'm on the professional development tab under videos, manuals and more. Down the bottom, third box along, I see Active Inspire videos. Okay. This is a link to some free online training in the form of short tutorial videos. These are great if you're wanting to learn about the functionality of the tools of Active Inspire. They won't give you much in the way of application of the tools or pedagogy for using your Promethean hardware or software in the classroom, really. It's more sort of how we access the tools and make them work. Now, the majority of our users across ANZ would opt in for the Studio because we use the grey Studio interface. However, some kindergarten level or early learning teachers or even SEN teachers may prefer the primary interface. For those of you wondering what I'm talking about, you can actually choose between two different ways to make your Inspire software look. And they do talk about how to change this at the very beginning of the very first tutorial on here, and it'll start playing automatically any second. So one moment, just pause it. There we go. However, in this video where they're telling you how to change the interface between Studio and Primary, they've forgotten to tell you that before you see the change in the interface, once you've changed the setting, once you've ticked the box, you actually have to shut down your Inspire software and reopen it before you will see the change. Okay, so just scrolling down here, you'll see I've got lots of different tabs that show me lots of different videos, only a minute or two long, most of them. Ideas for working with text, and I can scroll along a bit further. And I'm really pleased to see that they've slowly been building these up as well. Okay, so up here in the presentation tools, we're getting into things that are a little bit more involved, like Magic Ink. They're showing you the protractor, the ruler, the compass, those lovely maths tools. All right, and you can see in the background, I mean, they are applying them in terms of a lesson, but in 1 minute, you know, they're not exactly explaining how you would reform your maths program by using a protractor, for instance. All right. They serve their purpose, though. They're very, very useful little videos. The fourth and final box at the bottom, back out on our landing page of the PD tab. Over here, some of you will be shouting for joy, I know, manuals. You have 3 manuals you can download. They've basically broken the information up into sort of beginners, middle, and more advanced. They've just not called them that. They've used much fancier terminology. They are in PDF form, and yes, you could simply just print them all out to have that lovely something concrete in your hot little hand. However, I have seen them all printed out before. They do use a lot of paper, so you might just want to have a look through first and only print off the bits you really need or want. They are pretty lengthy, and you probably use up several trees in paper. All right. So if you're after something a little bit more than these initial Active Inspire videos down here, I recommend you have a look up here at, again, a very insignificant little heading and banner, and I think this should have a little bit of a neon flash around it, at Active Tips. All right. Once again, these are short snippet training video tutorials, but they focus a little bit more on the application of tools. I wouldn't go so far as to say they're necessarily going to revolutionize your pedagogy or implementation of interactive surfaces in your classroom, but they are a step on in that direction from the other training videos, and they will give you some quite cool ideas, or at least begin to show you the capacity and scope of what some of the tools can do. You do need to have a tolerance for cheesy music and American accents. You may grow to have a little crush on the man who presents them, as I do, but they are really useful little videos. Again, maybe between 3 to 7 minutes long. I don't think I've seen one over 7 minutes. You can also download these to your iTunes library, I believe. Used to be able to. I'm hoping you still could. You'll also find under Active Tips, so let's just quickly go there and double check so I'm not lying to you. All right, let's search for the camera tool because I know there's some on camera tool. There you go. I've got 4 resources pop up. So I have 4 little videos, and if I scroll down a little bit more, supporting flip charts. Okay, so if there are any flip charts that have been created in support of these videos, they'll be here. And you see 4.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes, longest is 3.5. So quick, easy. If you've got 5 minutes before a meeting and you're thinking, gosh, I've got 5 minutes, I can have a cup of tea, you could also watch an Active Tip. Okay. I'm just going to say that if you are after something much more revolutionary, some training that's really going to move you on in your pedagogy, that's really where the more personalised training programs with a Promethean accredited trainer will come in. So your Academies and Fellows tab down there. Hopefully our Promethean webinars are a step towards this too, but as we're delivering to such a wide audience, our content has to be pretty generic. The benefit of employing the services of a trainer is that they can cater to your school improvement plan and your teacher's individual needs. And one point to note here is I know that our New South Wales trainer from Empowered Learning, all of her Promethean training courses are BOAST registered, so it will count for your PD hours, which is very useful. All right, now we're moving on, and the third tab I'm going to direct your attention to is the support tab, the very last one in the top row. This is where you will come if you have a techie question or problem that you want to solve, or you want to find out information about one of our products. So you might want to find out some information about the board or the panel that you have in your classroom or the software that you're running, or you want to download software, so Active Inspire, for instance, or the latest driver. Now, as you can see at the top of the page on the right, there's a very lovely big button that says Download Active Inspire. We're actually going to click on that very shortly because this is one area of our website we've recently changed, and I want to show you the difference in how it looks. It's more of a difference in the looks. The process is pretty much the same. All right. Before we do that, though, I just want to draw your attention over here to the left where you can browse support in this little box here. Now, if you click on any of these links, what it's going to do is take you out to our new Promethean support website. So I'm going to click on, I'll click on interactive displays, the top one, doesn't really matter because here we are on the Promethean support website. Because I clicked interactive displays, if I scroll down, here's my display, my interactive display, active panel. I've got user guide, product specs. This is where I would come to register my product after I have had it installed. I've also got articles and manuals and software downloads and conversations, which I'll talk about later. But at the top, I've also got access to all of the other categories that I could possibly want help with. So if I clicked the wrong thing, for instance, back here, I really wanted software, I could have changed that up at the top of the website. Okay, so over to the right, we're going to click the jolly button, the big button, Download Active Inspire. And it's taking us out to our first step. Now, you can choose to have Active Inspire in any of these languages. I am going to choose UK English once again, so I can read it, and also so it's spelt correctly. Now again, you might notice this is the same sort of look as when we popped out before to the help website. That's because we've come to the same place. But this time, if I scroll down a little bit, instead of Active Panel, it's taken me straight to where I'm downloading Active Inspire, which is great. And you can see step 1 is already ticked because I've already selected my language. All right, and I can change it here if I want to. Now I just need to select what operating system. I'm going to tick Windows just for a change. Yes, I am running a Mac. I'll put in my details. There we go. I must have done this earlier today. I'm going to change who I am because I'm not currently a teacher, and I'm going to add my email address, confirm details, and accept download. Oops. Right, I think that's because I have a new computer. I'm getting all sorts of interesting things pop up. Okay, now it tells me that an email has been sent to me here, and there is some information that's worth reading in that email. If I scroll down again, this is where I would click on the link here. If my download hadn't started yet, I could manually download it, start the download there. And then it's got something a little bit confusing here for some people. What they're talking about in this sentence here, where they're saying that some Promethean hardware users are entitled to upgrade to Active Inspire Professional Edition free of charge. If you've purchased our hardware, essentially this is you, okay? On the front of your board or your panel, there will be a sticker, or there will have been a sticker, and there was a 20-digit code on that sticker, okay? When you open Active Inspire for the first time, once you've loaded it on your computer, it asks you to input that 20-digit code so that you have the full professional edition. Whatever you do, do not tick Run Personal Edition. For full information on that, pop onto the Promethean ANZ YouTube page. I have done a specific video tutorial, and it's up there. It's on registering Active Inspire. So watch that if you're at all confused about that box when it pops up when you load the software the first time. Okay, now what we actually also need to do, just going to pop back one more time, is, I don't think they've made enough of a song and dance about this. You also need to make sure you have downloaded 2 more very important things, okay? Number 1, the latest active driver, especially with the latest upgrades to operating systems. Windows 10, if you have just swapped to Windows 10, you must have the latest version of Active Inspire, so 2.5, and you must have the latest version of the driver, which is 5.17.12 or 5.12.17. I can't quite remember which way round they go. It's on there. It's on, I'm going to show you right now, in fact. We'll go to software. All right. Active Inspire, download Inspire. Well, we don't need to do that. Active Inspire resource number. This is the second thing that is very, very, very important that you download, and we're going to do that in a second. But first, we're going to scroll down, and you will see here our drivers. Okay, these are the most up-to-date drivers. You do need to know what your operating system is. So whether you are a 64-bit or a 32-bit Windows computer, or whether you are above or below, what's that one? Mountain Lion, I think, on Mac, okay? Incidentally, it won't let you, your computer won't let you load the wrong driver, so don't be worried. If you're not sure and you've tried to load the 32-bit and you're really a 64-bit, it won't let you. It will say this is the wrong driver. So basically go back and pick the other one. Now the Active Inspire Resource Pack, remember in webinar 2, I harped on about the fact that you need to download the subjects folder. That's what this is. So this is changed in the process of downloading. It used to be downloadable from a different place. Now all you need to do is click on that and it instantly starts downloading. I know because I've done it 50 times today, so I'm just going to cancel that. All right. So as well as downloading Inspire, you've got 2 other things you need to download. The driver, the latest active driver, and the resource pack, okay? Incidentally, El Capitan users, which is what I'm running, you need the latest Mac driver, all right? Otherwise, you will not be able to connect your computer and your board. They won't show up. They won't, touch and pen won't work for you. With the new driver, that is all fixed. Okay. Now there's only 2 tabs left for us. I'm going to cover them really quickly, only because we're short on time, not because they're hugely less important or anything. So first of all, the store. All right, I encourage you to come and have a look in the store. This is probably one part of Planet which is going to change this year, and I'm not sure what that might look like or if you'll still be able to even purchase any of these resources in the future. So it's worth coming in and having a look while you can. Basically, Promethean partner with a number of quite well-known publishers, and those publishers have created interactive content or lessons or books or all 3 for use with your Promethean software and hardware, and they then sell them through the site, and sales are via credit card. They're pretty reasonably priced, I think, especially when you think of the price of physical books for the library or for teachers' resource rooms. I confess I've only ever seen the DK and the Scholastic stuff from the store, but I can tell you they're of an excellent quality, and I actually use them in my own classroom. So let me just pop back to Inspire briefly, because I have a couple of examples here just to share with you. Okay, so here's the DK one, and I've just put a few example pages there, as you can see. I've just pulled random ones out. So you basically get a pack, and it has starter activities, main activities, reviews, then it has a folder of templates that you're able to use, semi-ready-made pages, and then it has a folder of images, so you're able to use the templates and the images to create your own if you would prefer. The thing I like about the DK ones is they're so professionally done. I look at that and I think, that's interesting, I want to have a look further. They've also, if I click on the note at the top, there's the PDF form of their ebook that you can print out or use with reading groups and so on. So I personally use the DK ones, and I've seen the Scholastic ones, which are of a good quality also. I can't vouch for any of the others, and of course it's absolutely a personal choice if you want to purchase things. I had a couple of them. So the store is there, and again you can search by different categories. I usually search by publishers, to be honest. So if I just click there, you can see there's all our list of publishers there, and you'll probably recognise quite a few of those. Actually, look at them all. I think there's, the Royal Albert Hall, and there's a few museums and other places like that that have also produced some resources that might be quite useful. Okay, and the final place I'm going to show you today, oh, actually, before I go on, I'm sure there's probably going to be some questions that pop up, as I usually get asked when I show the store. What about licensing or copyright or things for the resources? Well, I've not been able to find anything to the contrary, so I would suggest that it would be the same as for their published books. So if a school or a teacher has bought and downloaded the resource, can they share it with another teacher? Well, I would say yes, as you would share or loan an actual book to another teacher. The downfall may be having multiple copies of that resource if you've only purchased one copy. So my suggestion would be to save the resource to a folder on the shared drive where any teacher could use it. Like you'd put the physical book onto a shelf in the teacher resource library for any teacher to use as they need it. Okay, so our last stop is to have a quick look at the blogs and forums tab, okay? And I am going to click across here to the right to special interest groups. Now this didn't load very well for me earlier today. It took a long time, so I'm just hoping it plays ball. So if you're the type of person who's keen on creating a profile for yourself, this is where you would come to do it. And you can then reach out and make connections with other like-minded teachers across the globe. So if that's you, you'll be in heaven here. As you can see from the options here, you can browse over here the special interest groups that teachers have formed over the years. most of these, here they are, most of these require you to ask to join them, and then you have to have your request accepted by the people that formed the group. Then it's a bit like being in a Facebook group. You can message the group members, you can upload resources to share with each other and download other people's, and so on. So I'll just scroll down and you can see the sorts of groups that are already there. I don't think you're able to create new groups at the moment, and to be honest, I'm not sure what the future holds for this area of Planet. However, feel free to explore it. You can probably still join the groups already in existence. Not all groups require you to ask to join. Some you just click on them and then you're in. And the last thing I'm going to show you is the forums. So I'm going to come down and click on the forum. So as we're very well aware today, technology is not perfect. Bugs crop up and people tend to make similar user errors, and so the forums are a good place to come for you to self-help and find an answer to a problem you may be having. You can ask a question and Promethean staff members will answer it, or you can browse questions and threads that other people have already asked, because it would take a day or so probably, especially with time differences. These are answered in the UK or the US, so it might be quicker for you to browse for your own answer. You'll also usually get loads of other teachers putting in their findings or advice too, which I think is quite nice, because sometimes teachers have a better way of explaining solutions to teachers than tech support people do. But we do love our techies and we're very grateful for their help. If blogs and forums are your thing, then I would also recommend looking at our new support website. So remember, we got to that off the support tab, and we clicked any of the links down the left-hand side, and that took us out to support.prometheanworld.com. And when we scrolled down on the bottom right-hand, very bottom right, join the conversation. So these are sort of the new forums, if you will. You might have noticed on the forum page I showed you just before, some of the conversations were a little bit dated. So we do have some from this year, but some of the dates, you know, we're going back to 2014 for some of them. That's not to say they're not still useful, because if you've got products and you're still running old versions of software or things, you're going to be able to find an answer to your question here. My answer, if you're running an old version of software, is update it and you're going to eliminate your problem straight away. But in the interim, you might find an answer in there. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that brings our whistle-stop tour of Promethean Planet to an end. I'm just going to come back out here to my flip chart. And this is the flip chart I will upload to the webinar resources. As you can see, there's all my notes. Some things may look familiar. And I'm just going to click on this page. This is to remind you that watch this space. Promethean Planet will be going through some changes this year. Okay, I don't know what they're going to look like. Rest assured, when they do come along, I will be doing all I can to make you all aware of those changes and support you in your use of the website. So once again, ka kite anō, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. As always, if you have any further questions or comments, please don't hesitate to contact any of us. There are our web email addresses rather. So Laurie, Chelsea and myself are always happy to hear from you regarding anything Promethean. Thanks everybody for your time, and apologies once again for our technical difficulties earlier today.